Chosen one, you are not hearing this by accident, and you did not arrive at this moment by chance. Before you pressed play, heaven already marked this second as an appointment with your name on it. What pulled you here was not curiosity, it was alignment. Divine timing has converged, and your spirit recognized the signal before your mind could explain it. Anointed one, hear this carefully. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural turning point. What has been forming quietly in the unseen is now pressing toward manifestation. This is not ordinary progress. This is sudden elevation. This is divine intervention. This is a heaven-sent shift that involves protection, clarity, and a transfer God does not want you to mishandle. Right now, God is speaking urgently because what looks good, feels right, and seems perfectly aligned is not what it appears to be. There is a setup waiting not to bless you, but to derail you, and heaven stepped in, just in time. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision is appointed for a set time, and though it tarries, it doesn't lie. That appointed moment is now unfolding. Chosen one, your obedience in this season will determine whether you step into breakthrough or unnecessary delay. Still, your spirit, lean in. What you are about to hear is not entertainment. It is protection, revelation, and divine instruction released for this exact moment. Chosen one, listen closely. What you are feeling right now is not emotional hype, not imagination, and not coincidence. Something in your spirit is rising because heaven is placing a divine spotlight on your next step. You can sense the heaviness, the shift, the weight of this moment. And that's because this is not just information. This is intervention. This is God Himself pulling you aside to protect you from something you cannot yet see. Oh, chosen one, I need you to understand this. With every part of your being, you are standing at the edge of a supernatural turning point. One decision, one reaction, one moment of obedience, or one moment of impulse can determine the direction of your next season. That's why heaven arranged this encounter. That's why you feel that deep stirring like your spirit is trying to speak louder than your thoughts. Right now, you may be feeling excitement because something new seems to be forming in your life. Maybe a sudden opportunity, an open door, someone offering you connection, validation, or advancement. And at first glance, it looks perfect, it feels aligned, it appears to match the prayers you've been praying in secret. But chosen one, heaven is leaning in and whispering, and in some places even shouting, "No, not this, not now. Do not move. Do not move. This is not because God wants to limit you. This is because He sees the trap you cannot yet discern. And I know this place well. I've lived this moment. I've walked into seasons where everything looked right, where every sign lined up, where excitement drowned out caution. And every single time I rushed ahead of God, I paid for it. Every single time I ignored the tightening in my chest or the sudden hesitation in my spirit, I discovered later what God was trying to shield me from: heartbreak, misalignment, manipulation, confusion, delay. Anointed one, the enemy is strategic. He studies you. He studies your patterns, your desires, your vulnerabilities, your dreams. He knows exactly what your heart aches for. And He knows exactly what kind of opportunity will make you justify ignoring God's voice. The trap is not random. It is custom built. It reminds me of seasons where I prayed for breakthrough only to receive something that looked like breakthrough, but carried an undertone of chaos. I've had people enter my life with charm on the surface and hidden motives beneath. I've walked into business opportunities that promised elevation, but came with hidden spiritual costs. On the outside, everything looked God-sent. But the more I looked back, the more I realized it wasn't God, it was bait. Chosen one, that same thing is happening to you right now. The enemy is banking on your excitement. He wants you to move quickly, emotionally, impulsively, because he knows that rushed decisions create long delays. He wants you to mistake temptation for timing. He wants you to confuse access with assignment. But God is blocking the move because He loves you, because He sees long-term consequences you cannot yet perceive. And because He has a divine plan that does not require you to abandon wisdom to get what you desire. When I look at your situation, I feel the same urgency I have felt in moments when God outgrabbed me by the Spirit and said, "Slow down. This is not me. This is not your blessing. This is the enemy dressing destruction in the clothing of opportunity." I didn't always listen, and I paid for that. But the lessons birthed wisdom, and that wisdom is now the oil I pour into you. Chosen one, hear me. Your breakthrough is close, and that exactly why the danger is close. The enemy rarely attacks hardest when you are stagnant. He attacks hardest when you are closest to elevation. The counterfeit always comes before the authentic. The false door always appears before the real one opens. The distraction always presents itself before destiny arrives. This is why discernment is not optional in this moment. It is essential. When something seems flawless, effortless, or too perfectly timed, that is when you must pause the longest. God will never frustrate His own plans, but He will frustrate the plans of your enemy, even if it disappoints you for a moment. I've seen relationships that look like answered prayers turn into burdens that drained years of purpose. I've seen jobs that promised stability quickly twist into spiritual warfare. I've seen perfect opportunities slowly unravel into traps designed to derail purpose. And every time the signs were there, a tightening in the spirit, a sudden confusion, a subtle hesitation, an unexplainable lack of peace. Chosen one, those same signs are appearing around you right now. Your environment is shifting, your emotions feel louder, your mind feels pulled in two directions, and that is not random. That is spiritual pressure signaling. Look again, slow down, something is off. Before we continue deeper, pause here. Let this settle in your spirit. You are not being held back. You are being protected. Chosen one, as we continue, I need you to breathe and allow your spirit to settle into what heaven is revealing. And if these Bible-centered messages have encouraged your walk with Christ, we invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs biblical hope today. If this ministry has blessed your life, and you would like to help us continue sharing scripture-centered encouragement around the world, you can support the ministry through the link provided below. There are moments in life where God speaks softly, and there are moments where He speaks with unmistakable urgency. This is one of those moments. The atmosphere around you is shifting because what is ahead of you carries weight. Your next step matters, and the enemy knows it. That is why he has been studying you not casually, but meticulously, waiting for the exact moment when excitement overshadows discernment. He crafts illusions with precision, shaping opportunities that look like blessings but carry the scent of spiritual danger. And while you see a door, heaven sees a trap. I remember a season in my own life when everything seemed to align perfectly. A door opened that I had. An offer came that matched my dreams, and the timing seemed divine. But something inside me felt unsettled. I brushed it off at first, thinking it was fear or overthinking. But the unease grew stronger, and every time I tried to silence it, it echoed louder. Eventually, I paused long enough to pray honestly, not asking God to make it happen, but asking Him to expose the truth. And when He did, the curtain lifted. What looked like opportunity was actually a spiritual detour. If I had stepped into it, I would have been pulled away from my purpose, drained emotionally, and delayed for years. That experience taught me that discernment is not born in silence, it is born in stillness. When we stop long enough to hear heaven speaks, chosen one, heaven is speaking to you right now. You are feeling strange hesitations, sudden fogginess, or inconsistent peace, and that is not random. God is trying to protect you from what you cannot yet see. The enemy hopes you interpret urgency as confirmation, emotion as revelation, and excitement as green light. But heaven wants you to slow down, to breathe, to examine, to step back from anything that feels rushed or too perfectly timed. For God does not need pressure to work. The enemy does. Heaven moves with peace. The enemy moves with panic. When something pushes you to act quickly, to decide immediately, to leap before listening, that is when you must pause the longest. I've lived long enough to know this truth. Every major disaster in my life began with a rushed yes. Every breakthrough in my life began with a prayerful pause. And that is exactly where you are right now, at the intersection of impulse and instruction, emotion and wisdom, urgency and divine timing. The enemy hopes you underestimate your own vulnerability. He hopes you ignore the spiritual alarms God has placed in your emotions, in your body, in your environment. He hopes you focus on what looks right instead of what feels wrong. But God is reminding you that your spirit senses that danger long before your mind understands it. When certain people suddenly feel different, when a room feels heavier, when a conversation that once felt easy now feels off, these are divine nudges, and God uses them to awaken you. Chosen. One part of your elevation requires outgrowing the version of you that used to be fooled by superficial alignment. God is not just protecting you from danger, He is training you for destiny. You cannot walk into divine wealth, divine influence, divine purpose with the same level of discernment you had in previous seasons. The higher you rise, the more subtle the traps become. The more valuable your calling, the more customized. The enemy's strategies. Heaven is not merely warning you. Heaven is maturing you. I remember another season when God blocked an opportunity I wanted so desperately. I was frustrated. I felt overlooked. I felt like God was being unfair. But months later, new information surfaced. That opportunity was attached to hidden motives, manipulation, and spiritual compromise. If God had given me what I wanted, it would have cost me what I needed. That is the kind of protection God is giving you right now. Not punishment protection, not denial direction. But you must be willing to trust Him when He says no, not yet, or not this. You must trust Him when He removes someone suddenly, when He closes a door unexpectedly, when He interrupts a plan that looked flawless. Heaven sees the conversations you were never meant to hear, the intentions that were never spoken aloud, the plans formed behind your back, the odd traps set in the spirit before they reach the natural. And because God loves you too deeply to let you walk into destruction unknowingly, He intervenes. That is what this message is. Divine intervention. Chosen one, you are valuable to heaven. You are too called, too marked, too anointed to waste years on something that was never part of God's blueprint. This is why He is slowing you down. This is why He is tightening your spirit. This is why He is heightening your sensitivity. God is not trying to frustrate you. He is preparing you. He is shaping the version of you that is capable of carrying the blessing that is coming, the wealth, the influence, the purpose, the elevation. All of it requires razor-sharp discernment, and this moment is heaven sharpening your blade. You must listen. You must pay attention. You must rise above emotion and step into clarity. Heaven is guiding your steps because what is ahead of you is too great to be derailed now. Chosen one, as we move deeper into this revelation, I need you to understand something that will shift the way you see this entire season. The intensity you feel, the pressure, the restlessness, the sudden awareness, it is not spiritual chaos. It is spiritual clarity sharpening itself inside you. This is heaven tuning your discernment, because what is approaching you in the unseen is bigger than anything you have walked into before. And when heaven is preparing to elevate you, the enemy prepares to imitate God. He crafts counterfeits that look divine, feel divine, and sound divine, hoping you won't pause long enough to sense that something is off. But you, chosen one, are not who you used to be. Your spirit has matured, your ears have become sharper. Your steps are ordered in ways you are only beginning to understand. There was a time in my life when not every opportunity felt like it had to be from God simply because it was available. I assumed open doors were always divine doors, but experience taught me differently. I learned that the enemy also opens doors wide, shiny, and perfectly timed, not to bless me, but to drain me. Some of the hardest seasons I ever walked through began with opportunities I thought were heaven sent. They came wrapped in excitement, validation, and quick promises. But when the wrapping fell away, what remained was confusion, manipulation, and inner disconnection. And that disconnection is always the first sign something is spiritually misaligned. Even if your mind agrees, even if your emotions are eager, your spirit will always whisper the truth. That whisper is what God is strengthening in you right now. Anointed one, you are in a season where God is requiring stillness before movement, not inactivity, but intentional slowness. Heaven out is trying to show you the difference between momentum born from God and momentum born from pressure. When God moves you, you feel peace, even in uncertainty. When the enemy pushes you, you feel rush fear and the sense that if you don't act now, you'll lose everything. That is not how heaven speaks. The enemy thrives on panic. God works through alignment, and alignment requires patience, something your old season did not teach you, but your new season demands. I can recall a moment when someone came into my life with everything I thought I needed. They carried charisma, opportunity, and the illusion of compatibility. At first, it felt like divine orchestration, as if God had answered my prayers overnight. But slowly, cracks appeared, little inconsistencies, moments that felt spiritually heavy, words that didn't sit right. And one night in silence, I felt an unexplainable tightening in my chest, a sign God often uses to my attention. When I stepped back and prayed, truly prayed, heaven revealed everything I had missed in my excitement. The truth. God came slowly, gently, but undeniably. And that truth saved me years of pain. God is giving you that same grace right now. You are not being paranoid, you are being protected. Chosen one, the trap you're sensing is not small, it is not harmless, it is not something you can simply navigate through. The enemy is targeting your next season, not your current comfort. He knows how close you are to breakthrough, elevation, and divine transfer. He knows heaven is aligning resources, relationships, opportunities, and territories for you. He sees the shift in the spirit even before you see it in the natural. And because he cannot stop what God has ordained, he attempts to redirect you. And if these Bible-centered messages have encouraged your walk with Christ, we invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs biblical hope today. If this ministry has blessed your life and you would like to help us continue sharing scripture-centered encouragement around the world, you can support the ministry through the link provided below. He attempts to delay you. He attempts to distract you with something that looks holy but is hollow, something that sounds promising but is poisonous at the core. This is why God is tightening your discernment. This is why you felt more sensitive, more alert, more spiritually aware than usual. It's not anxiety, it's activation. Heaven is activating your inner radar so you can detect what your emotions would normally overlook. The things you used to fall for, you won't fall for anymore. The traps you used to step into, you'll recognize instantly. The people who once manipulated your kindness will find you spiritually untouchable. You are stepping into a version of yourself that hell hoped you would never discover. And here's the truth. Discernment is not always loud. Sometimes it is a whisper, a hesitation, a slight discomfort you can't explain. Sometimes it comes as a shift in the atmosphere around someone. Sometimes it comes as sudden heaviness around a decision that used to feel light. Sometimes it shows up as a dream, a strange thought, that a subtle warning. Heaven speaks in gentle nudges, long before danger becomes visible. But the enemy hopes you ignore those nudges because you can't rationalize them. He hopes you choose logic over discernment, excitement over wisdom, desire over truth. But you, chosen one, are moving differently now. Every attack you survived sharpened you. Every disappointment matured you. Every betrayal trained your spirit to detect false alignment. Every delay strengthened your sensitivity to God's timing. And now you stand at a place where heaven can trust you with instructions that require depth, not emotion. That is why this warning is coming to you now, not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to hear it. Heaven only warns those who are close to destiny. You are stepping into a season where your future requires clarity, your purpose requires precision, your calling requires carefulness, and your spirit requires protection. Heaven is not just watching over you. Heaven is guiding you, shielding you, and ensuring you do not fall into a trap designed to rob you of the next chapter God has prepared. Chosen one, as we move forward, let your spirit stay open, because what heaven is revealing now is deeper than simple warning. This is preparation for the elevation God has already written into your future. Every sensation you feel, every pause rising inside you, every moment that suddenly feels heavier than usual is part of a divine calibration. God is not just protecting you from a trap. He is upgrading your spiritual sensitivity so you can walk confidently into a season of supernatural promotion without stumbling over what once deceived you. Your spirit is being awakened so deeply that even the smallest hint of misalignment will. He's not trying to deprive you, he's trying to direct you. I remember a moment where everything in me wanted to move forward with something that seemed perfect. I argued with God internally, trying to convince myself that the uneasiness was just fear. But each time I prayed, the pressure increased. I delayed making a decision long enough to finally see the truth. What looked like opportunity was actually distraction dressed in favor. And when I stepped away, peace returned instantly. Your peace is telling you the truth, even when your mind cannot yet see it. Anointed one, you have matured beyond needing obvious signs. God no longer needs to shout because you have learned to hear his whisper. The enemy no longer needs to yell because he knows you can detect even his slightest movements. This is growth. This is transformation. This is heaven trusting you with deeper spiritual awareness because your assignment requires it. The next chapter of your life will require spiritual precision. You cannot afford to be entangled. You cannot afford to be emotionally scattered. You cannot afford to enter a door God didn't open. This season is not simply about avoiding traps. It is about preserving your capacity for the blessings God is preparing to release. Chosen one, trust what you feel. Trust what heaven is showing you. Trust the uneasiness. Trust the hesitation. Chamberin, Chamberin, Chamberin 9, Chamberin, Chamberin 9, Chamberin 9, Chamberin 9, Chamberin 9, Chamberin 9, Chamberin 9, Chamberin 9. They are invitations to slow down, listen, and align. Something greater is approaching you, and God is clearing the path so nothing counterfeit can follow you into your promise. Chosen one, as we enter this next flow of revelation, allow the weight of what heaven is showing you to settle deeply in your spirit. You have reached a point in your journey where God is not simply guiding you, He is upgrading you. Every moment of hesitation, every flicker of discomfort, every internal shift you've been experiencing is part of a divine recalibration. Heaven is tuning your spirit to a frequency that deception cannot imitate. You are being shaped into someone who can sense danger long before it manifests, someone who can discern intention without seeing evidence, someone who moves not by impulse but by revelation. This is the level of spiritual maturity required for the calling on your life. Chosen one, you may feel like you've been walking through a fog, but the fog itself is a sign that God is pulling you away from what no longer matches your identity. When God is separating you from a trap, He doesn't always rip it away. Sometimes He slowly dissolves your peace around it. Peace leaves, so you will follow. Confusion shows up, so you will pause. Restlessness rises, so you will question. And that questioning is the birthplace of clarity. God is not trying to make your life harder. He's trying to prevent you from stepping into something that would cost you years of your destiny. I've experienced times where God allowed certain relationships, opportunities, or environments to suddenly feel heavy, even when nothing outwardly had changed. At first, I wondered if something was wrong with me. But later I learned that when your spirit grows, it outgrows things quietly. What once felt comforting starts feeling restrictive. What once gave you energy starts draining you. What once felt aligned now feels foreign. This discomfort is divine. It is heaven redirecting you without alarming you. And chosen one, the same shift is happening inside you now. The enemy sees that you are on the verge of divine elevation. An elevation that will bring clarity, authority, and breakthrough. He knows that once you step into this next season, you will be harder to deceive, impossible to delay, and untouchable in areas where you were once vulnerable. That is why he is fighting you subtly. He cannot stop the blessing, so he tries to blind you before it arrives. He knows he cannot close doors heaven has opened, so he tries to lure you toward doors heaven never assigned. But you, chosen one, are seeing too clearly. You are sensing too deeply. You are becoming too spiritually awake to fall for a counterfeit, crafted from your old wounds. This growth threatens hell more than you realize, and that is exactly why heaven has been pressing on your spirit with urgency, because you are ready for a new level of discernment, and that discernment will save you from battles you were never meant to fight. Anointed one, pay attention to the things that suddenly feel off. Pay attention to conversations that drain your peace. Pay attention to opportunities that require you to shrink who you are. Pay attention to relationships that subtly pull you away from God. These are not coincidences, they are spiritual clues. Heaven never allows you to feel discomfort without purpose. Your inner atmosphere is your greatest indicator of alignment. When your piece tightens, God is speaking. When your emotions feel pressured, the enemy is working. When your mind becomes unsettled, heaven is redirecting. There is something in your life right now that is asking for a decision, a commitment, or your attention. And while your mind may be tempted to say yes, your spirit is whispering, no. This whisper is your salvation. This whisper is God shielding your future before you can even see the danger. Do not ignore it. Do not talk yourself out of it. Do not let loneliness, fear, or impatience silence what God is telling you. Discernment is often quiet, but it is always accurate. Chosen, one God is preparing you for blessings that require a stronger version of you. A version that does not second-guess spiritual warnings. A version that trusts God more than appearance. A version that does not let excitement override wisdom. A version that knows peace is the signature of God and pressure is the fingerprint of the enemy. And you are becoming that version right now. You may feel like you are losing things, connections, opportunities, desires you once chased, but you are not losing, you are being aligned. Heaven is pruning you, refining you, and shaping you, so nothing counterfeit can attach itself to your destiny. What God is preparing for you requires purity of spirit, clarity of mind, and stability of heart. And that is exactly what He is producing in you through this season of warning and awakening. The enemy wants you to believe that hesitation is a sign of weakness, but heaven wants you to know that hesitation can be a sign of wisdom. Even silence can be obedience when your spirit is still evaluating what your eyes cannot yet see. Trust your process, trust your growth, trust the God who speaks through your peace. You are being prepared for something greater, and heaven will not allow you to enter that greatness with anything that could sabotage it. Chosen one, as we move into this final unfolding of the message, let your spirit recognize the magnitude of what heaven has been doing within you throughout this entire journey. You have not been merely receiving warnings, you have been receiving transformation. God has been constructing within you a spiritual framework strong enough to hold the weight of the destiny He is preparing to release. This is why the refining has felt intense. This is why the internal shifts have felt relentless. Heaven has been cleansing your discernment, strengthening your intuition, and polishing the lens through which you interpret the world. You are becoming someone who cannot be deceived, someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who cannot be diverted from purpose. This is the making of a chosen vessel. Chosen one, the trap that was set before you was not small. It was crafted with great strategy, tailored to your desires, shaped around your emotional history, and timed with precision. The enemy knew your calling was ripening. He saw the spiritual activity, the surrounding you doors, aligning opportunities forming, divine help being dispatched. He understood that you were about to step into a realm of clarity and authority that would make you dangerous to His kingdom. So, He attempted to distract you before the shift became visible, but heaven intervened. Heaven heightened your sensitivity. Heaven disrupted your peace at the exact moment you were about to move in the wrong direction. Heaven whispered when your emotions tried to shout, And now, because you listened, you stand at the threshold of breakthrough with eyes sharper than ever before. Anointed One, the version of you standing here now is not the version the enemy prepared the trap for. The trap was designed for your old self, the one who doubted instincts, that ignored spiritual tension, and chased after things wrapped in emotional appeal. But the new you, the awakened you, the spiritually empowered you has outgrown the enemy's strategies. What once tempted you now feels suspicious. What once attracted you now feels shallow. What once pulled you now feels foreign. This is evidence that you have been elevated internally before the elevation manifests externally. God always transforms you before He transforms your circumstances. There will still be moments where you feel uncertain, moments where the path ahead looks too quiet, or too still, moments where you wonder if you heard God correctly. But stillness is not absence. Stillness is alignment. God has pulled you out of noise so you can hear Him clearly. He has removed distractions so you can see truth without distortion. He has blocked certain voices because their influence would have weakened your discernment. You are being prepared to walk into blessings that require spiritual precision, and this preparation is not punishment, it is positioning. I've walked through seasons where God's silence felt overwhelming only to realize later that He was not silent, He was separating. Separating me from what was beneath my calling. Separating me from people who could not go where I was going. Separating me from opportunities that looked divine but carried hidden bondage. And when the separation was complete, the clarity came rushing in like a flood. The same clarity is rising in you now. Heaven is clearing your path, so that when the real blessing arrives, nothing counterfeit stands close enough to confuse you. Chosen one, hear this clearly. The warning you received was not merely about danger, it was about destiny. God was not just saving you from something. He was saving something for you. A blessing, a connection, an opportunity, a divine assignment that must not be contaminated by premature choices. Your next season carries weight. It carries purpose. It carries provision. It carries supernatural alignment. And for that reason, heaven needed you sober, alert, and spiritually grounded. You may have felt lately as if pieces of your old life were falling away. Habits, relationships, desires, dreams you once clung to. But these were not losses, they were releases. God was making room. The things being removed were taking up space meant for what He's about to deliver. You cannot carry the unnecessary into the extraordinary. To step into divine calling, you must walk with divine clarity. That is what this entire journey has been shaping within you. The enemy will attempt again in the future, but he will not find the same vulnerabilities. You are stronger now. You are wiser now. You are spiritually awake now. You will feel deception before it forms. You will sense manipulation before it speaks. You will detect misalignment before it arrives. This is the mark of someone God has trained for destiny. Chosen one, this is your turning point. You have passed the test of discernment. You have resisted the temptation to rush. You have honored the whisper of God over the pull of emotion. And now heaven is free to move in your life with power. What is coming is pure. What is coming is aligned. What is coming carries God's peace, God's timing, and God's signature. You have been protected not just from a trap, but for a blessing. Chosen one, as we close this message, let your spirit be still for a moment. You have not heard these words by accident. Heaven has aligned you with this exact Kairos moment, your appointed time, your place of awakening, your threshold of divine protection and supernatural transfer. God has not only warned you, He has positioned you. He has covered you. He has prepared you for what is coming next. Anointed one, walk forward with clarity. Walk forward with obedience. Walk forward with the assurance that what is meant for you cannot be stolen, delayed, or derailed. The trap will not touch you. The counterfeit will not confuse you. The divine path beneath your feet is already opening. If this word resonated in your spirit, pause and acknowledge heaven's confirmation. Share what you felt, subscribe if you're led, and stay connected to this prophetic flow. chosen one, God's peace surround you, God's wisdom guide you, and God's hand lift you into the season prepared for your name. Go in alignment, go in strength, go in victory. And if these Bible-centered messages have encouraged your walk with Christ, we invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs biblical hope today. If this ministry has blessed your life, and you would like to help us continue sharing scripture-centered encouragement around the world, you can support the ministry through the link provided below.